Okay, with Daniel Garcia, who is the writer and star of the film Separate Roads. You're in Mexico City right now. I guess you're going to show this film at a festival there.
Yeah, we got accepted into a queer film festival here, which is quite exciting that we'll get to show this film internationally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're very excited about it.
How do you like the city? I heard it's gigantic, and it's one of those big cities that's in the middle of the country, which every other big city is beside a big landmass of water. It's kind of a unique city in a sense.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating. It has a obviously an amazing history, fantastic museums. There's so much traffic, so if you do hear a lot of honking, I
Yeah.
apologize.
No problem. Okay, so you are the writer and the star of the film. So I'm assuming you wrote the film for yourself.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like the old saying, write what you know.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it was a story about my life that I thought people could resonate with, and it's a message that I wanted to kind of get out there about the harmful effects of conversion therapy. Yeah, and so that's kind of was the jumping point of why I created it.
That's kind of amazing because you're a young guy, and I just see your age on. You're young to me, so
Okay,
basically,
okay.
uh, but that's sort of amazing that because you're in Canada, so you don't think about conversion therapy in Canada. You think it more of a kind of a progressive liberal country, but that's something you had to go through yourself personally.
No, so actually, I'm originally from Texas,
Oh, okay,
and
wow,
I
okay,
grew up, born and raised in Texas. I know I'm all over the place. Texas,
yeah,
America, Mexico. But yeah, no, I grew up in Texas, and the man that I was dating, kind of in secret for 2 years, we were together, and then I was becoming more comfortable about who I was and
yeah.
whatnot. And so, but obviously, he was kind of more clinging to his faith and his religion and we broke up for obvious reasons. And then 10 years later, he kind of wrote to me to say that, that he had gone through these changes and whatnot, and he wanted to have this like clean slate between us. And so, yeah, the film obviously depicts the true story about the struggles that he's gone through and that he still continues to deal with.
So okay, so not to sound like a jerk for the United States, but that makes more sense based in Texas.
Well, no, honestly though, because like I think that the film is topical right now because in the
Yeah,
United States, obviously they're trying
100%.
to roll back protections against these bans on conversion therapy, and
Yeah,
even in Canada, we have certain individuals who wanted to repeal these bans as
yeah.
well in Canada, and just not that long ago, like they were having these conversations about it, about oh, do we have an appetite in the party? Do we think that we can actually get some of these
Yeah.
things rolled back? And the party's like, no, the Canadian people aren't going to stand for that.
No.
So they kind of squashed it. But even still, even in a country as liberal as Canada, that people are having these conversations, I kind of find a little wild. But I think that's why this film is so important to show people that, like, hey, this is not okay. These kinds of practices are very damaging, not to just the individual, but to all the other people around him. Like as we see in the film, that he's his like new fiance, she doesn't know anything about what's happening and whatnot, right? She doesn't know that he's internally struggling with these demons and whatnot.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a ripple effect, and yeah, like in Canada, if you just move like you're in BC, if you move one province over, you it's a different
Mhm.
country, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
yeah, same with the US, obviously, like in Texas.
yeah.
We have very kind of strict laws there and things are going in a certain direction. And then obviously if you go up to New York, it's a much more liberal state, right? So
I remember someone doing a documentary about this on our festival last year, and I think it was like 21 states that conversion therapy was still legal,
mm.
which blew my mind. Like I didn't realize that like two-thirds of the states, or one, sorry, one like over one-third of the state are still kind of this is still a thing, right? I thought we
Yeah,
passed this, but I guess we didn't.
yeah, I have a friend of mine who lives in Australia, and I showed him my film, and yeah, he was like, "Wow, I never even thought about like,
Yeah.
does Australia have conversion therapy?" And so he actually had to Google it, and they don't have. It's obviously been banned, but not that long ago. And so he was kind of shocked. He was like, "Oh wow, like I guess I just never thought about it before." And that was the whole point kind of this film to
Mhm.
get people to think about these things, right?
Yeah, and it's like you kind of have the like the metaphor in the beginning with the mask, right? Like the you kind of use the mask as a
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That was kind of a funny happenstance. We originally wanted to have him face painted, but then, for like technical reasons, like what if the paint melts and
sure.
whatnot? And I just happened to be at like a dollar store and I saw this mask. And I was like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect and fantastic. And what a great metaphor because like how young Daniel wears like the mask on the back of his head. Like he's
Yeah.
not afraid to like show who he is, right? Whereas Tyler obviously is hiding behind his own masks.
So yeah, like I really like this film. I'm sure you've been asked this before, but is there a bigger? Is there like a? Is this like almost like a proof of concept? Is there like a feature screenplay that you've written based on this?
Yeah, yeah, definitely 100%.
Yeah.
Like this is a proof of concept, and we have ideas on how we wanted to make this into a feature.
Mhm.
If there's any financiers out there that that are interested. But yeah, we definitely have plans if we're able to make that work logistically, that we would love to make a feature film out of this. Mm.
I really liked how you, the director, or you guys, like you guys use the city and the kind of the culture of the modern world as a character in the film. Like even when he's like chasing him and like to the park bench, and it's like he's like it's almost like he's running away from him. But and again, I guess they kind of know that this is where they're going to meet, right? Where like, and it's good for the audience too. But I like how you kind of use the hills and where was it shot? Where did you shoot it?
So this is all done in Vancouver. All the cast and crew were all from Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we wanted to we wanted this to be a beautiful film, and I think that was really on the part of my director Shalina. She and I we went out and we located we scouted all the locations. Yeah, and so we wanted to kind of have a beautiful film to kind of match the what we think is a beautiful story.
All right, so tell me the origin story. You wrote the script. When did Shalina come on board? Because it's a really nicely directed film. Not a lot. She really nailed the nuance in the editing and in her shot selection. So curious about your collaboration with her and when you kind of approached her about directing.
Yeah, so the fascinating thing about this is that everybody that have worked on this project, all the cast and all the crew, I've known from doing background work. Uh, so like our editor, our musical composer is everybody that I've met doing background work on other TV and film projects. And
That's
so
interesting.
yeah, like we're not just background actors, right? We're
Yeah,
writers, we're producers, we're directors. And so I met her on set one day and we just kind of hit it off and we decided I was like, "Hey, I want to kind of do some projects." And she's like, "Yeah, let's collaborate." And so this is always something that I've been thinking about doing for some time. And I originally wanted this just to be like a short little scene that I wanted to show casting,
yeah.
my acting abilities. And so Shaylina, she was like, well, if we're going to do all that trouble, why not make this into a short? And so she's the one that kind of like pressed me to be like, okay, why don't we flesh this out? Why don't we do like a festival run and show everybody this story? So she pushed me, and so I was like, all right. So then I finally put it to paper, and so it probably took about 8 or 9 months from start to finish. Um, uh, like from me like, actually writing the script and then collaborating with her because she wrote some of the script as well. Philly and I are definitely like hand in hand through everything on this project. But obviously, she's the director and she did
Yeah.
an amazing job because it's hard for me to like see myself while we're on camera, right? So she's able to direct me and the others, and she had clearly had a vision as well on this.
Yeah,
So
it's good. It's good to have a different perspective because you don't want to be too busy. I'm sure you're producing and you're writing. You got to nail your performance too, right? So
yeah.
it's not a easy role. Like I said in the beginning, there's a lot of nuance in your performance, right? So Yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for me because it was the first time that I, was writing and producing and starring in something myself, which is why I really needed Shalina to be there to
yeah.
kind of make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing on camera because I'm thinking about, oh gosh, what about the lighting and oh, what about his hair and what about like the wardrobe and all these other million other things that I've had to learn along the way, especially
Mhm.
post production, like a lot of the stuff that I had to learn post production like about the festival run, about how do you get your name out there? How do you apply to all these film festivals? What are the rules? How do you navigate all that? It's been a very complex journey, and I've learned a lot.
That's amazing. And so you guys met, you and Shailene met at Extras Holding? Is that what I'm?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we worked on The Good Doctor together. And that's just, fate how it took
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
So I used to work locate. This is 25 years ago. So old, this is how long it is. But I used to work in locations back in the
Oh,
day.
really?
So I used one of sometimes my job used to be, especially on obviously a big extras day, was to round up the extras. I'm sure you've seen location guys there and or women, I should say. And so I remember those holding places where there's a lot of time, right? You got a lot of time
Mhm.
on your hands, right? So and there's a lot
Yeah.
of like people are using that time to their advantage. I remember people writing scripts and like collaborating and bitching about the industry and
What are you talking about?
yeah. But there's also the divide between the actor background and the non-actor background, right? And
hmm
there's that whole like I always felt that there's like I'm never a big believer in like films about films, right? Because I think they're sometimes mostly a little bit masturbatory, right? But
Yeah.
I always believe that there's something there. There's something. I know Ricky Gervais did a show, but there's something in the whole dynamic of like in like the there's like a you know what I mean? Like it's like there's something interesting in that dynamic and the extras holding places, right? So
Yeah, even young Daniel, I met him doing background actually on The Good Doctor as well.
yeah,
And he's actually become my best friend. And as we were trying to like cast and look for people, his name is Zachary. I was like, well, Zach kind of looks like me, like a young, he's 10 years younger than me.
yeah.
And so I was like, oh, he'd be great. And then obviously my co-star Alex, we also met doing background and we were casting, we were looking for people. And Shailene and I both knew Alex from doing background. And so we auditioned him, and I was like, he has a really fantastic look, and he's a great actor as well. So,
That's
yeah,
amazing. I like that. It's a good story, right? So maybe in your
yeah,
Q&A in Mexico, someone will ask that question. So you could it's
yeah.
a good story. People will like that stuff, right? Because it's like you got something done while you're getting paid, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was just great that we were able to like, all like get along and collaborate. Like
yeah,
everybody on this project has been really fantastic to work with. And it's actually quite an international project because my music composer, his name's Ryan Redebaugh, and he's a fantastic composer. He's done tons of work like for Shark Week and for The Daily Show. And so
yeah.
we met back in New York on a couple of background projects, and the fact that we've been able to stay friends all this time and watch each other grow, I've been really amazed by his career, whatnot. And so he wrote to me because he saw that I was making this project, and so he's like, "Hey, how can I lend a hand?" And he wrote a beautiful, fantastic score for the project. Yeah. Mm.
Wow, I like that story. So I like the dynamic of the you and the co-star, your character and the co-star, where like you're like hopefully you're okay at me saying this, but you're like a foot, kind of like a foot shorter than him, right?
Yeah,
But
I am. Yeah.
you're so much more taller on the screen,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right? Like you're upright, you're not sloping, you're like you know who you are, your character, right? Where like I like that dynamic, that kind of like that opposite dynamic where like he's shorter than you, but even though he's taller, right? So
Well, oh, yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like obviously, like he's, in self-doubt, and you would think like a taller person might be more like, confident and whatnot,
Yeah.
and me being like a little. Well, it's not hard for people. I'm actually only 5'5", so it's not hard for people to be taller than me.
No, but he's like, you know what I'm saying? But I like the way she directed it too. I like that dynamic, right? Because you're like he's looking down at you, but you know what I'm saying? It's like a good I like that. I like when it's a contradiction, right? So like it adds more emotion in a subconscious way.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think I'm not sure I fully even thought of that. Like, about him being
Yeah.
taller. Like, I just always assume everybody's taller than me, right? But we did want to have like obviously like visual differences between us, right?
Yeah. So you guys worked in the actor. You guys are all actor members too, right?
Yeah, we're all part of the guild. Well, me, no, not everybody. Me, Alex, and Shalina, we're part of the union,
Okay.
and Zach, and also our other young Tyler Pedro. He's actually not an actor. He's more of an athlete, but we needed somebody to run, and run on that track as many times as we told him
Yeah. Well, you did a
to.
great job doing it, right? So I like the
Yeah.
transitions too. There's some nice transitions, right? So all right, so you went through the gauntlet, right? You developed it, you went through pre-production, and then you shot it. Obviously, what did you? How was your? Were you part of the editing process?
I was part of the editing process. Shalina and our editor, they kind of put like a skeleton, like a base for the story, right, from
Yeah,
start to finish. But then like I came in and I was like, okay, like maybe I want like this or want that. And it was very much of a compromise because obviously Shalina wanted like XYZ and I wanted XYZ. And we wanted to make sure that we compromised with each other, right? So like I kind of gave a bit of ground on some things and she gave ground on others. And she and because I wrote it, it's my baby, right? Like I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I really kind of want this, but she's like, Daniel, like trust me, like if you like take a step back and look
yeah.
at the larger picture, like this particular shot just works better for the film. And I was like, okay. And then like a week later, I'm like, okay, she was totally right on that.
Have you ever been a part of that process where you saw yourself? Because you can see that you could manipulate some performances in editing, right? Were
Yeah,
you ever part of that as an actor, like kind of seeing the raw footage of your performance and kind of how we piece the story arcs together?
I haven't been that not to this degree,
Yeah,
right? Because like, I'm all over this film, right? But like and it is kind of a little hard to like watch me perform and be like, "Oh, maybe like oh, so like as we were filming we had a monitor obviously and I would watch it back and I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, like maybe I could have." And our DOP Elias, he was like, "It was a really good shot. You should stop watching yourself. Let's move
yeah.
on."
No, you know what I mean. It's like you gotta step outside of yourself. This is not you. Like
Right.
the actor on stage is not you. You got to remove yourself from, and that's not easy to do, right?
No, it was a little hard to kind of let go. But again, that was the whole point of why I brought Shaylina on, so
Yeah,
that, she could be like, no, 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 like it was fine, it was great, or whatever. But then yeah, in the editing process, I would like certain as an actor, maybe being a little bit egotistical, be like, oh, maybe like this like camera shot is better that we chose. And she's like, this is not your demo reel, Daniel, right? This is a
yeah,
film, right? You're looking at this at the lens as an actor,
yeah,
right? But this is a movie, this is a story, right? It's not like, oh, Daniel looks
100%.
fantastic in this
Yeah,
shot, right? Like,
you got
yeah.
to do that. Like a lot of it's hard. It's like because it's your vanity and your everything is involved, right? So no, I'm being honest. Everybody's got
No,
it,
it
right?
is,
So
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's tough, but it's like that's a big part of it, right? Like you gotta, and a lot of people can't do that, right? And you could see it in the film. It's like and it's like I wonder if there was a better, because I see the person like producing it and acting in it. It's like I wonder if there was a better take there, right? So
Hmm.
they look
Yeah.
great, but it's not the right shot for the film, right? So yeah,
Right, exactly, right. Well, and
yeah,
especially because like I liked one particular angle that we had. We all have our angles, right?
yeah,
And so I'm
exactly,
like, well, we can't keep panning back to the same angle, right? Like we shot this, like in so many different ways, right? And you can't keep panning back to this one thing. Otherwise, it looks like you only had like two setups,
yeah.
right? And then it just feels weird, right? And the audience isn't really with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all subconscious too, right? Like we can, because everything's kind of manipulated in like shot selection, right? So it's like, and it's just if we're taking into the emotion of the scene, then if something doesn't feel right, even though we don't know it consciously, then we kind of remove ourselves from the film, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Young, the my friend Zachary, who plays young Daniel, he was fantastic because he was also he played young Daniel, but then also he was part of our crew on the days that he wasn't on set. And
Yeah.
so he really stepped in and he was like our line producer, like our wardrobe guy, right? And
Oh wow.
he was kind of like watching every take and like he would, maybe like see something that like wasn't quite right and he would like say it to Shalina like, "Hey, maybe." And she's like, "Oh, wow, you're really right." And like because yeah, we're watching 100 different things, right? And Zach helped us to like point out like, oh, Daniel's shirt's like just like a little wrinkle, right? And like, oh, right, 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 kind of thing. Yeah, so it was definitely like obviously a team thing. Like I couldn't have done this by myself, right? I needed all these people to be there and help me
Yeah.
to bring this story to the masses.
But it's great though, right? You kind of had this idea, and then basically it's done, right? You it's there forever, right? And you got to brought all these great people together, and must be a good feeling.
Yeah, no, it is great because, and Shailena brought in a bunch of people as well. She brought in our DOP, and definitely somebody that I would work with over and over again, right? And so it's building these connections, building the sense of community, and showing people what we can do on such a small budget,
Yeah,
right? Like, because I was the one that financed everything, right? And so it wasn't like the biggest, Hollywood blockbuster film. And I
yeah.
knew that we wouldn't get like, accolades for like maybe like best, produced thing, right? Because it is a lower budget film. But I thought that the story was something that needed to be told and get out there. And I thought it would be the story that would like push everything through and, resonate with people.
Okay, so yeah, that congratulations, by the way. That's amazing. So let's talk about the theme of the ending, because I guess the theme is running away. I guess, right? Or
Yes. Yes. There is
and
definitely a massive theme of running all the way through this.
yeah,
Running away from religion or running towards religion, running away from love, running towards love, or running away from yourself. Or me like running towards like I have in the film a fiance, right? Like I've chosen him, right? And so yeah, it is a massive theme of running. And even in the score, when we were writing the score with Ryan, that we told him that we wanted this kind of like theme of running throughout the entire film.
yeah.
So that is a massive, yeah, component of it.
So the character doesn't really learn or doesn't really want to fight his fears, which is very honest, right? Like most people don't, right? Like we see it in the movies all the time, right? But it's like, but most people don't because life is hard and there's a lot of factors involved, and you got family and you don't want to be alone and fears and all those insecurities, right? So it's like I'm
Yeah.
not judging anybody for what happens in life because it's like it's not easy, right? So it's like this character will not face his fears, right? So
Yeah, he can't or he won't or he's not able to face these fears.
yeah,
And I think, if you truly want to say, "Hey, I don't like a homosexual lifestyle. I don't want to live that, and I'm not going to." And it's like, "Okay, fine, that's great. That's your choice that you're making that." But if someone is forcing you to go to these kinds of camps, whether it be like society or your own family, or hey, if you don't go do this, you're going to get kicked out of the church, right? That's a societal pressure, right? And and it's hard. And I have seen people get kicked out of their churches because they wouldn't conform, and you lose your entire community. So it is hard to get away from. And when you're confronted with this ultimatum, let's say,
yeah,
obviously you're gonna say, okay, 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 I'll do whatever it is that you want me to do, even though you know that like deep down that's not
yeah.
how you feel. Or for someone to say that, oh, you're flawed, you're wrong, like you need to go fix yourself,
Or
right? Like,
you, it's not even that you're evil. You're like that this is a
um,
sin. You're going to go to hell. Like all this nonsense, right? But for me, it's
yeah.
nonsense. Yeah,
Well, yeah. And
yeah,
so, he wants to run away from all that. He wants to run away from how he truly feels,
yeah.
which is a shame. And so, yeah, like it's just that theme of running. And
For me. It all comes down to the parents, right? Like if
mm,
they know, and it's like they have to face that fear as well, and if they don't want to, then they're going to force their kid to do something, right? And they're gonna that's what it's simple as that. It comes down because it's like right when you're like a teenager, even as a parent, right? Like Okay.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
I knew like from when I was a little kid, like I just knew that I was different and I didn't know like how or why. Like because growing up in Texas, right?
Your
Like
parents knew too, right? So
no, they didn't.
yeah. Well,
They
maybe
didn't.
they didn't think they did, but they did, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, you know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
like, yeah,
No,
it
I
took
don't know
them.
your parents. I'm just assuming,
No,
right?
they're good people. They
Yeah.
just, I mean, it took them a while to kind of like get used to the idea.
That's great. So it seems like they've grown too, right? That's what I'm trying to make is that they have to like grow too. And like I've been fortunate enough to be on like calls like this and seeing like parents really like because they love their kid. Their love of their kid is more important than their ego and their community and blah blah blah, right? So
Yeah,
they have to
honestly,
change.
it's not like a lifetime story where like oh everything's hunky dory and whatnot.
Yeah.
No, like it takes years, right, for these things to grow and to get into a place that is okay. It may be for some people like they have the lifetime story of like oh I came out to my mom and I got like a big hug and whatnot,
Yeah,
right? It's
sure.
like okay
I
great,
think it's more common than ever, right? Because it's more accepted, right? So
Well, I mean, this I'm 40 years old. I'm not like that much younger than you,
yeah,
right? And so like, in 2001, growing up in Texas, that was a very big deal to
yeah.
to come out and say like we didn't have like Glee and stuff like that, right? Like I think you had like one kiss on Dawson's Creek, that was like,
Yeah,
you know,
but like that's it's funny that you mentioned that because it is because social acceptance, right? Because remember in 2008, Barack Obama could not campaign on gay marriage, right? Like probably a liberal, like from an American standpoint, a liberal president, and he couldn't campaign on that. He would not have been elected. But then
yeah,
4 years later, he could say that that was a mistake, and he always believed that, right? But I'm just using it as an analogy, and like
yeah.
so, and meaning that like that's how much things have changed, right? Like we're like it got more social acceptance because of mainstream media, because of like what we see on TV, like Will and Grace, and like for me it was Philadelphia, and like oh okay that
Yeah.
makes sense, right? So
Yeah. I had a friend in high school who was like my best friend and still is to this day. And so when I came out to him, he was a very kind of religious, conservative person because again, that's just how we grew up in Texas, at least in my little town, right? And so he was like, "Oh, well, I love Daniel, and I guess I means I love gay people, right?" And that was just, because he'd just never been exposed to it before, right? And he didn't have any malice towards us or anything. He just hadn't had any experience with it before,
100%, yeah,
And so he thought about it and he's like, oh, well, I guess I don't have a problem with it, right?
yeah.
So that was very lucky. Yeah.
So I remember my my sister married her husband, but my brother in law's brother was gay. He was living with somebody, and they're Italian, and they never talked about it. It's like oh, it's his friend, right? That's how they dealt with it, right? That's
Yeah.
just, oh, it's his good friend, right? And even though
Yeah.
he showed up at all the functions and stuff like that, and they were obviously a gay couple, but that's how that family dealt with it, right? They
Hmm.
accepted it, but then it was like don't ask, don't tell kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah. Which still happens to this day. It's not as common for, at least, I should say in the U.S. and whatnot, the U.S. and Canada. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there are obviously other parts in the world. Like, obviously, like in Russia, like you can't be gay, otherwise, like you'll be jailed for it or
Middle
whatever, right?
East, like yeah,
Yeah. So these stories are still very relevant, like worldwide, right? Like, not
no,
just about conversion therapy, but about being who you are and being true to yourself,
no.
which can be hard where depending on where you're at. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in certain countries you'll get murdered, right?
Yeah,
It's
you
like
could be murdered, you could be sent to jail, you could be
yeah,
sentenced to death, depending on what country you live in,
yeah.
which is obviously unfortunate.
But I'm saying in the Western world there is progress. Like I think everybody because it's more about I think if everybody really takes a hard look at their family, there's a gay person in their family, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you know what I mean because it's more out there. You know what I mean? It's like of course there's room to grow, but we also have to acknowledge that there's been a far path in the last 25 years especially, right? So
There has been a great progress.
yeah,
And I think that we don't want to slide backwards, which is what we're seeing in the US, right?
Yeah,
With the rollbacks of these protections and the rollbacks against, trans rights and whatnot, right? Because, if they can kick them out of the military and say, oh, like you're not a real person and whatnot, and then how they were floating, taking away our marriage rights, in the Supreme Court, right? So these
yeah,
stories, telling queer stories is very essential, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to like make this film and
yeah.
to put it out there and to like show people that we are people and that we deserve to be happy and to choose a life that makes us happy and not to choose a life for somebody else, right?
That
Like
said, listen, the American politicians, wherever they are, in Texas especially, they don't want to touch this subject. The
right,
Republicans don't want to touch this subject. They don't even want to go there, right? Because they know that the majority of people don't give a shit, right? So,
yeah.
but there still is that small percentage, right?
There is that small percentage, and even like in like 20, I want to say like 12, 2014, like the Republicans knew that if they touched gay marriage, like
Yeah,
that people wouldn't stand for it, right? But then like they just slowly and slowly keep chipping
they're
away at it,
chipping
right?
away. Yeah,
And so it's not okay, and so we need to keep putting these stories out there and showing
100%.
people
That's why
that
we're doing this festival. Yeah,
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
To hear queer voices,
yeah,
right? No matter what the story is, right? To keep showing like, we are here and we are who we are, and that it's okay,
yeah.
right? And not to run away from it.
And it's but here like we always try to balance the programming, meaning that it's like we have films like yours, but we also have films that are just they happen to be gay and they're living their life and there's no big deal, right? So
Right.
you also have to
Yeah.
have those kind of stories as well, right? Because because
Well,
that's
because
what yeah.
I wanted to like, share like a story because there have been a blockbuster film about conversion therapy. I can't remember. Boy Erased. So I didn't want to just like, regurgitate something that was already,
Mhm.
told. So I was like, I want to tell my story, right? Because, they're all very different, right? In different ways. And yeah, you can have like these are already openly gay people and whatnot and surrounded by that. But I also didn't want to be like trite and like, regurgitate this, oh, I just came out, no, it's awful, and all these other
Yeah.
things. We've seen that a lot. So we wanted to like have a point of view that was different and that people would want to listen to and to hear and to see.
All right, man. Well, enjoy Mexico City. Enjoy the festival run. Seems like it's getting in places already. California, St. Louis, Mexico, Toronto. So you're on your way, and I wish you the best of success with the film. Keep in touch. Let me know if you guys are going to make a feature out of this. I know it's a long process, but I hope you're proud of where you are right now. It's a fantastic origin story, and I know it's not easy. It is not easy to do what you
Yeah.
did, and sometimes there's that. Speaking of fears, that learning curve fear, right? Where like I'm sure you were overwhelmed like about 1,000 times, but you got through it.
I did have my doubts, but I'm thankfully to you guys and the festival for voting us to be best short film. That was
Yeah,
just like, that was my biggest fear. Oh, what if nobody likes it? But obviously you guys loved it, so
yeah.
that means a lot to us. So
No,
really,
no,
thank
I
you
know,
very
and
much.
that's the next step, right? Where you send it out to the world, and it's like, yeah. So not every you're not going to get in every festival, but you'll get into most, right? So
We got some rejections, but we're getting into some.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. All right,
yeah.
man. Let's talk soon and enjoy the run.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.